I, 34 meters, conducted a paternity test behind my wife's back on our 12-year-old son. First of all, I can't even imagine how blindsided you must feel. I'm sorry this has happened. My parents, biological parents, got married because they found out they were pregnant with me. When I was about 1, they decided to end it. I've talked with my mom a lot about why this happened and what her thought process was, and she always says something along the lines of, "I knew that I'd so much rather raise you in 2 happy households instead of 1 unhappy one." And that's exactly what happened. I grew up with 2 separate, happy marriages as examples. I got to be loved by so many more people. I have good relationships with all my parents. I have no resentment. I just wanted to say that good outcomes of divorce exist. Sometimes it really is what is best for the family unit as a whole. Divorce doesn't always end badly. Sometimes it's the most calm and clear path for everyone involved. Good luck. I'm rooting for you. I knew that I'd so much rather raise you in 2 happy households instead of 1 unhappy one. Wow, that's the best advice I've read so far. There are benefits too. As a stepdad of 4, we have 1 week of chaos and 1 week of silence when they're at their dad's. When it's quiet, I tend to look forward to the chaos. And at the end of the chaos, I look forward to the quiet. Stepdad of 2. Our kids are doing a lot better post-divorce than they were pre-divorce. Both houses are happier. We are split schedule rather than week to week. But 100% agree with the chaos/quiet blend. Miss them while they're gone. But take advantage of the quiet times. I'm so sorry. One thing I know is no matter what, he is my son. But thank God for that. He didn't know any better than you did. You both grew up knowing each other as father and son. And DNA only changes that biologically. It doesn't change all the time you spent together. All the time you spent raising him. All the time he spent knowing you as his father, and you are still that person, and so is he. Family is so much more than blood, and I'm glad you're on board with that. But wow, yeah. How to deal with your wife. It's okay to still love somebody, but not be in love with them. And obviously this was becoming the case long before you found out that your son is not biologically yours. So one of the things to me is that kids tend to learn a lot from their parents' relationships. And a loveless relationship is only teaching them that they should do the same. Definitely see a therapist to help you navigate this. But also see a lawyer, even if you don't have any plans right now. Talk to a lawyer and see what your options are, because despite not being the biological father, presumably you're still on his birth certificate and you've been his father for a dozen years. So at least talk to a lawyer and figure out what you can expect if you do decide to leave her. That's definitely the case. I love her, but I'm not in love with her. Thank you for your well-worded response. I needed that. I would also keep what you found out to yourself for now. At least until you consult a lawyer. Because if she does think you're his biological father, you stand a chance of getting some kind of custody if you do divorce. If she knows you're not, infidelity doesn't look good in court and could be pretty damaging in a divorce settlement in some situations/locations. So it might be better for her to keep that under wraps and allow you to continue being dad and splitting custody. But this stuff is all very complicated. So again, please definitely talk to a lawyer. This right here. I don't have experience in any of it personally. But I constantly see people saying that if you're in this type of situation, be sure to talk to a lawyer before confronting your spouse about it. Yes, I hope Bob sees this. Especially if he wants the best chance of staying in his child's life. Do you want the marriage to end now, or wait till the kid is 18? Cause that's about your only 2 choices. The marriage has been dead for years. It's time to stop dragging that corpse around. Agreed. My parents attempted to make it work until I was 12, and my childhood was awful because they were never meant to be together. My childhood memories are screaming matches and the subject of emotional abuse. Not that's how your marriage is, and obviously I may be biased. But the children are not the reason to be with somebody you're not happy with is the moral of the story. You also need to just be straight up with talking with her. The truth needs to come out. It will probably end your marriage though. Be prepared for that. Wish my parents realized this earlier. Would have helped me immensely. Such a fucked childhood. Dealing with two narcissists and constant anxiety from worrying about what storm I was going home to after school. It's like we lived the same childhood. Being together sometimes does more harm than good. I wish more people would realize that. Yeah, it's shit. My mother straight up asked me at like 12 or 13 if I thought her and my father should stay together, like be make your own decisions. Oh my gosh, same. My mom would ask me these kinds of questions, but because I was scared of her I would give her answer she wanted to hear, but it would always bite me in the ear when things didn't go as she wanted. Like, dude, you're literally asking an 11-year-old. You should be the one getting yelled at for trying to make an 11 years old weigh in on this. Bullshit. Some people shouldn't raise children. My first thoughts while reading this, before I even got to the part with the results of the DNA test, were that you should consider splitting up with your wife. From what it sounds like, you're not exactly happy with her. Life is too short. I think that the results of the DNA test are irrelevant. You know in your heart that you will always be your son's father. Even if you don't share DNA. If you decide to get a divorce, you can find someone who really makes you genuinely happy. And your son will be happy for you and will understand when he gets older. Kids feed off of your happiness. Personally, I wouldn't even bring up the results of the test to either one of them. Maybe that's your mental out for gathering the courage to start over. Maybe that's a chat you can have with your son in a few years. But I wouldn't even worry yourself with the stress of discussing it. I also agree with you /Chillboagans in that you should definitely seek legal advice before you do anything. Just in case there's a chance of you jeopardizing the custody of your son. You will get through this. Life has a funny way of sorting itself out. Good luck and thank you for your service. Agree so much with this. Please don't be the guy that stays in an unhappy marriage. Kids know. It's not enjoyable being the child in a clearly unhappy marriage. He'll understand one day. They so know, and it messes them up. Not understanding what a functional relationship is. It's so important to show them how to choose good relationships and communicate clearly, even if it is from separate homes. Damn bro. Stole his girl and his kid. Ruthless. Does that guy deserve to know he has a kid though? Seems kind of important. This is so sad. Alexa Playbilly Jane. Definitely talk to a therapist and work it out before you talk to your wife. You need to be able to process this and figure things out before a confrontation. No matter what else happens. Though. You got yourself a son out of it. Treasure that. And please talk to a therapist about how to tell your son. It's honestly something you should probably do with the help of a therapist. This is going to be extremely traumatic for him to hear. Agreed. That's my thought. The son will feel abandoned and blamed. Op. Thank goodness you care for him as his son. You're a good man. 0% chance I'm his biological son. I would hope not. Good catch. Hahaha. I'm sorry for your troubles. Some good advice here. I would go with your gut on what is best for your son. Oh, seen you. Within the same weekend. How exactly would she know? What he means is there was a reasonable chance that the child wasn't ops. That there should have been when she told him the truth. Instead she chose to continue the narrative that the child was ops. That's the dishonest part. I understand if this is your reaction and you're dead set on leaving her or confronting her or whatever. But from what you said, he was seeing you before you met her, but after that she stopped. You stole her. So there's a chance she was just as in the dark as you are. Your reaction is valid. Honestly. But personally I don't really get it. She didn't do this to explicitly hurt you. Or cheat on you. Edit. I guess what I want to say to Op is this. I'm sorry about your marriage. I don't know what you'd want out of counseling. Whether it's to fix anything with your marriage, or try to salvage it. Or to work through trauma from it. Regardless. It sounds like it was rough already. Before you found this out. So don't stick with it, because it will make your son's life better. It won't. You being happy on your own, or with someone else is better for you and therefore him. If you want to work JT is it with the mother. Go for it. That would also help your son. Best of luck. He never claimed she cheated. He never claimed to be upset about the pregnancy. Not once did he blame her for not being the biological father. He's hurt because, even though she was aware the pregnancy may have not been his, she never even brought up the fact it was a possibility. Can you even read the post, bruv? Besides, as she was sleeping with multiple men during the time period of becoming pregnant, it was completely on her to clarify the situation to all parties involved and to get an paternity test before she even gave birth. Now my guy's been on the hook for 12 years for a child that's not his, in a marriage he loathes, simply because of her selfishness. If he loathes the marriage this much, then he truly needs to leave. Yes, that is an assumption. But growing up in a household that's full of tension and toxicity from a dead marriage can be just as damaging as having an absent father. Yes, I agree with you. She colder said something about being with another man before being with him. But that doesn't Elaine. In the post he said he was both aware it might not have been his. If it really bothered him, he should brought it up years ago. The marriage is already dead. According to him, he needs to get out for his sake, and for his son's sake. And hers as well. I don't think there's any bad guys here. Certainly bad decision though. But also it's not my life, I'm not any of these people. We all have an outside perspective. Edit, he's on the hook not from her selfishness, but from him being noble and not wanting to leave a child. Even if it was his, he would still be on the hook because their marriage is already failed. That being said, he wrote that he still loves her. So I don't know what the best option is for him.